Happy Valentine's Day and welcome to the Movies to Watch Before You Die podcast. I am your host, Dylan, along with my cousin and co-host,
Gab.
And today we are talking about a movie I am nominating for a movie to watch before you die, and one that is particularly in theme with the holiday. I'm going with the 1996 movie Jerry Maguire. Gab, we're going to talk about this movie that I can't believe you've never seen because I'm sure you know like 100 quotes that we'll get into about it. But
Yeah.
why don't you do me a favor, Gab, and why don't you tell me what the fuck is Jerry Maguire about?
What's this all been about? What am I working toward?
You think you know everything about me, don't you?
I dive at your bottom. I bloody well ought to.
Well, Dylan, there's no need to curse, but Jerry Maguire is about a sports manager who loses all of his clients except for one. I almost said two, but we'll say one. And it is his journey to find his way back to the top. And there's a love story also.
Okay. Interesting. I feel like I'm intrigued by the way you prioritize things there, but let's keep going.
Well, I mean, that's what the movie's about, right?
Sort of. It's a bit more 50-50 than you painted out. The IMDb plot summary says, when a sports agent has a moral epiphany and is fired for expressing it, he decides to put his new philosophy to the test as an independent agent with the only athlete who stays with him and his former colleague.
Okay, so
You
they
know
didn't
what?
say anything about love.
Yeah, they're like, this is just a sports film. They're like, this is about an agent.
Yeah. Also, did I say sports writer or did I say agent?
You said sports manager.
Okay, close enough. Split
Close
the difference. Okay, so yeah. I'm gonna keep everything inside until opinion time. But I also, because I literally had no idea what this movie was about, but I think I was Googling it to try to get the running time just to understand how much time I was gonna have to dedicate.
Mhm.
And I saw something that said like a sports manager like slowly starts to lose his mind. So then I went in thinking, is this gonna be like a psychological film?
That I suggested for Valentine's Day.
Yeah, like I was so confused, but I knew it was like a classically sort of like uh or a sorry, I didn't mean classically. It's like a typical typically classified romance movie. I'm having a very hard time.
I will
But
say,
I don't know.
I knew this very much as a romance movie, and I remember I must have been probably 12-ish years old, and I was really into football by this time. And I remember my mom suggested I watch Jerry Maguire, and I was like, no, Mom, that's stupid. Romance is for girls, and that movie's got romance in it. And she was like, I think you're gonna like it. And I remember I'm watching the first like half hour, and it's like he's at the NFL draft. You see like Troy Aikman and Drew Bledsoe, and I was fucking bought and sold, hook, line, and sinker. I was in. But obviously I'll get more into that. Should I give you some taglines because we skipped right over those?
Yeah. Listen, let's get our ducks in a row, tag it up, and then we'll go on.
All right, go duck yourself. Here's the first one. Everybody loved him. Everybody disappeared.
Yeah, okay.
The rest of his life begins now.
Then no.
The journey is everything.
No.
These could have been the taglines for fucking Eat, Pray, Love. Like, I
Yeah.
hate these taglines.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't like a tagline that could have to do with virtually any movie. It has to
Yes.
feel somewhat specific.
Sometimes they feel like very standard, like what's the word for like a stock tagline?
Yes.
Like they went in their little Rolodex and they were like, all right, how about this one? Yeah.
Like, it could have been like, all his clients left and the love of his life came. You know what I mean? Like something like that
Yeah.
would have been at least closer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. When he lost everything is when he found something.
That still feels generic.
Yeah. Well, you also don't want to be like giving away the plot of the movie, I suppose.
That's true. But
There's a delicate balance here.
yeah, there's gotta be more than there are people in this movie. Like that's what this tagline felt like.
Things happen in this movie. Yeah.
There will be a man named Jerry Maguire.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I feel like you're itching for it. Should we get into our opinions?
I can't wait. Let's go. But I want you to go first.
In this critic's opinion,
You know, that's just like your opinion, man.
Well, I have a right to my opinion, and my opinion is you have no right to your opinion.
Okay, well, I feel like you're setting me up for the kill here. That's what I feel like is happening.
No, not at all. I feel like you probably have more like regular takes. You know what I mean?
Okay. I feel like I'm behind the 8 ball already, though, just with the running time. I will say
No.
this is an all-timer with one of the cutest kid performances ever. Jonathan
Oh, yeah.
Lipnicki blasted onto the scene with this movie.
Who the fuck is he? Because I was like, that's Dylan and Cole Sprouse, but I was wrong.
No, you know him from things like
Stuart Little?
Stuart Little, Like Mike.
Yes.
What was that movie where he's the little vampire? Can't remember. But he was the it
I
child for a
remember
little
that
bit.
movie. Little vampire kid.
It had
Sometimes
a
I
name.
think it's
A name that was
yeah.
different than those things.
Yeah.
me
Look
see
it
if I
up
have
on
it written down here.
IMDb. Quick.
Oh, it's just called Little Vampire. I did have it
Oh,
written down.
okay. Little vampire. It wasn't plural, little vampires.
No, singular,
Oh,
just him.
okay. Okay.
He was a
Well,
diva by
good.
that point, and he was like Macaulay Culkin once in. Fuck him.
Yeah, he is so cute. His little lisp, like, oh my God.
Did you know dogs and bees can smell fear?
Oh, so cute.
This is honestly rewatching this movie. I was like, this is one of the most quotable movies I think ever.
Huh. Like what? Show me the money.
Show me the money. You complete me. You had me at hello.
I love black people.
We'll get into that. Did you know the human head weighs 8 pounds? I feel like there are so many things. Help me help you.
Help me help you. Is that from this movie or is that like
Yeah.
a thing that people say?
No, that's from this.
Oh, because I say that all the time.
Yeah, and you don't realize by osmosis you've gotten that from this.
Interesting.
I feel like this is also one of those movies where it's before Tom Cruise was just like, I'm going to do a generic action movie and going to be a generic action man. And it's like he's taking a dramatic risk. And I don't feel like this movie works with virtually anyone else because he does the most insane readings of lines.
Yeah.
And you referenced one of them just then when he is going through the whole ordeal with Rod Tidwell, and he's got Rod on the phone. He's trying to retain his clients because he's just been fired from the sports agency, and you can see people dropping off of the line on hold while Rod is the only one talking to him. And Rod's like, "I want my money. You're going to show me the money." And he's telling him what he should say. He's going, "Show me the money." And Jerry goes from "show you the money," and he goes, "Not show you the money. Show me the money. Show me the money. Show me the money." And like,
Yeah.
it's just Tom Cruise being absolutely insane turned up to 11. And that's why it works. Cause like, if he's just saying it like, show me the money, and he has him say, I love black people. If he just goes, I love black people, it doesn't work. It's the fact that he's screaming, holding on people. You're like, whoa.
It is. It was like, oh, I get it now. Because obviously I've heard show me the money 1,000 times.
Show me the money.
Yeah. It was a little out of control. But
It's full.
great.
But that's exactly what's supposed to be happening is we are seeing him at that point. Everything is gone. He is unhinged. He's lost everything. And it maybe takes a little bit too long to get there, but we need to set up just how much the man has so that we can watch him as he loses it all.
Yeah.
I think the last thing that I love is that moment where he's with Cush's family. And Cush's father is like, we don't sign contracts, but you got my word. And that's stronger than oak, which is such like a great thing to say. That sounds so fucking cool. You know what I mean? That's yeah, this guy's got that old vernacular and I can trust him. And then when he picks up the phone and it's that son of a bitch, Bob Sugar, who is the opposing agent, who has taken all of his clients, and he's like, listen, is he there? Don't tell him that you signed with us. Just bullshit him, whatever. And he gets off the phone and he goes, I'm still sort of moved by your whole my word is stronger than oak thing. And it's just like this great last thing that is like, and you've lost everything.
Yeah. I was shocked at that moment when he answered the phone and Bob Sugar was like, cough if he's there. Like, what? I couldn't believe it. But it kind of made sense in retrospect where it was like, yeah, he just left Rod Tidwell to go and see this kid who's supposed to be like, the up and comer. And it's like, yeah, you fucking abandoned the people that were loyal to you.
Well, not just an up and comer. He thinks that he has the number one pick in the draft still with him. And that's a big deal because this guy is instant superstar. You know what I mean? They're looking out at fucking Times Square and his face is on the screens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they are thinking, sure, I've got Rod. Having Rod Tidwell is great. He's a very good wide receiver for the Cardinals, sure. But I have a superstar, the number one pick in the draft. And he's thinking, if I still have these two guys, I'm set.
Yeah.
So when he has just Rod, it's like everything is on Rod. Everything.
Yeah. When you think of a sports agent, who comes to mind?
Well, keep in mind, as a big sports guy, I do know some actual sports agents. Like Drew Rosenhaus is the guy I think of.
Okay.
Or Scott Boras.
I think of Scott Boras. Yep.
Scott Boras is the biggest agent in baseball, which baseball is the sport to be the biggest agent in because it's the biggest contracts you'll ever see.
Yeah, for so long. Scott Boras, bad person.
I would assume, I mean, if you look at this movie's telling you that most sports agents are not great people.
Yeah. But it kind of made sense where it was like, oh, I get it. Because, as a Mets fan, when we had Matt Harvey and Boris was the one saying that he was limited to 180 innings, and we were in the fucking playoffs, and it was like, well, he can't pitch because his agent said no. And it was like, what do you mean? But it's like, I get it now. If he gets injured, nobody's getting paid. You know what I mean? Like,
It's the agent's job to be a greedy prick for just that player, not for your
Yeah.
team. He doesn't give a shit about what team the player's on. He
Right.
cares about just that player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And then we get players that we lose. Like Pete Alonso is a great example. We just re-signed him for one more year, but like his agent, who I think might be Scott Boras. Do you know?
I don't know off the top of my head, but you got to keep in mind by this point, Scott Boras in baseball, Drew Rosenhaus in football, they don't singularly represent all these players. They now are the heads of their own agencies, which are filled with other agents that represent all these players.
Yeah, no, it is Scott Boras.
Yeah, like they
Is,
say at one point in the beginning of the movie that Jerry is a part of they say the name of his agency and that there's 30 agents, but you can see there's hundreds of people working in the office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boras Corp, it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate him. But I get it. But also like it's just like they ruin the game, you know?
Yeah. And the whole point though is that he is growing a conscience and trying to think about what's best for the player rather than just money, money, money. Because you see at the
Yeah.
beginning when he is in money, money, money mode, this guy who clearly has a concussion that he's like, talking to his son and he's like, your dad's going to be fine. We're going to go right back out on the ice. And the dad is like in a hospital bed and he's like, yeah, I got to play 3 more games to get that bonus. And it's like, oh, Jesus. Did you recognize the kid, by the way?
No.
That little kid is Drake Bell of Drake and Josh.
No way.
Uh-huh. The one who goes, fuck you.
Wow. I had no idea.
Yeah, that's a nice little cameo there.
That is so cool. I had no idea.
There's an unbelievable amount of famous people in this movie, I feel like. I also feel like another thing this movie has going for it is Cuba Gooding Jr. has never been better than he was in this movie.
I'm sorry. Who?
Cuba Gooba, as my grandma calls
Kuba
him.
Gooba. Yes,
Yes.
thank you. Kuba Gooba.
But he is absolutely fantastic as Rod Tidwell, and he just he understood the assignment so well.
Yeah. I didn't know that Kuba Gooba was that funny.
Well, I don't think I think he's a good actor. I think it's the script is good. Like, I don't think it's
Ah.
just him riffing.
Yeah.
You
yeah,
know
yeah,
who
yeah,
did
yeah.
seem to be riffing somewhat when I looked at behind the scenes stuff? Jay Moore, who I don't think of as like a great actor. He's a stand-up comic, but he's really good as Bob Sugar. And like if you
Oh,
see
yeah.
behind the
He
scenes
looks
stuff,
familiar.
yeah, you've definitely seen him in other things. If you see behind the scenes stuff, he is just like when he's taking the phones and just talking on the phones, that's him just like making up who he's talking to and what he's saying. And like
Yeah.
he's just doing a great job of smarmy agent who like he's pretending that, oh, I'm so sorry that happened to you, puts down that phone. He's like, oh, I'm so angry that happened, and he's just like everything is fake about him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know any people like that?
Not current. I don't feel like I currently surround myself with any people who I think are just like utterly
No,
fake.
I'm not
No.
saying. Do you have any
Have I
friends
ever
like that?
like probably in
Yeah.
like high school? Yeah, I knew people who was like, oh, so you just lie about everything.
Yeah, I feel like I know a few people who are just like tell you what you want to hear, like kind of always being salesy and always being like just like disingenuous, and it's like what like just be normal, just like be a person, Gross.
Some people have a hard time being a person.
I know somebody who I'm not going to say their name, but like I know them. I worked with them for a long time, who I swear to God is an alien. And every morning they wake up and they like zip up their human suit and go about into the world pretending to be a human. And it's like something is off about this guy. Like he is clearly not from this planet.
Okay, well, let me know if you ever catch him with his skin off.
I will definitely keeping my eyes peeled.
Um,
All right, I'm gonna go. It's
yeah,
my turn.
I want to hear what you're holding back
Yeah.
with here.
So I have a couple of thoughts, and my first thought was it felt, I get it. the guy has a concussion. The kid said, fuck you. I understand. But that was what it took to make you change your life and your way of thinking, so much so that you stayed up all night writing this manifesto. And then you got 100 copies printed to give to everybody. Like,
It was a mission statement.
sorry. I I just felt like I would have liked it if the dominoes fell a little slower, where
I
it
think they
started.
did fall more than you're giving them credit for, though, because I think
Okay,
you see
tell me
him in
how.
you see him in the meetings with the other agents, and they're all talking about getting that money, and you see all these phone calls he's doing, and it's all like he knows that he's lying to every person he's talking to on the phone. Like he's pretending to care about everybody he's talking to, and he knows he's full of shit. So by the time that
Right.
he's like pretending to do that with this father, and he can see that like this person's actually legitimately hurt, and he is
Yeah.
not doing anything to care about that. And the first person who sees through it is not the actual athlete, not the athlete's wife. It's this child who's like, shouldn't somebody help my dad? And he's like, isn't that your job? You know, and he
Yeah.
just tries to just lie to this kid, and this kid calls him out. And I think it makes sense as the final straw.
Yeah, but I just think that like for him to then that night wake up in a cold sweat and write this huge document and have it printed 100 times and put it in everybody's mailbox, like I feel like the movie can't be 3.5 hours, but I feel like he could have like gone to a meeting and said something and been laughed at, and then like tried to do something a little different with an athlete and get yelled at, and then finally have snapped. But it just felt like it just happened so quickly, and I just don't think that bad people change their mind that quickly.
Well, I think the point is he's not a bad person. And I think the point is he has that realization and he writes the mission statement, but then we do see a moment of him trying to stop it from happening, that he realizes he's like, wait, I'm taking too big a swing here. Because he goes and he calls the person at the front desk, and she goes, they've all been taken already. Like, oh, the mail went out already. You know what I mean? To like the other 30
Yeah.
agents.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's an aspirational thing. And you get the idea that if he were the head of this company, yeah, he could do that.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
tell your
yeah.
bosses more personal client care, less money. Because you know
Yeah.
what they're going to say? No, more money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, 100%. That's a small thing. Here's my bigger issue with this movie.
Okay.
The 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 love story, you see it unfold and you're like, okay, yep, 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 check, 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 check. And then he doesn't want to lose her, so he says, let's just get married, which by the way, for anybody listening, ain't
Another
gonna
terrible
fucking work.
proposal on this
Another
show.
terrible proposal, so bad. Like come correct, Tom Cruise. But okay, so then all of a sudden they're getting married, and I thought to myself, wow, this movie ended much faster than I thought it would, considering it's like 2.5 hours. And then I realized, oh, this movie is not over, so they've just gotten married. And then here's the part where I'm a little bit like head scratchy, because Renee Zellweger, Wagger,
Zellweger.
Zellweger, thank you. Interesting. I have been saying Wanger, like Wanger Pasiri Radiology, for those in our
Not like
area.
Zwanga Basiri. No.
Wanger Pasiri. Um, she breaks up with him because
Yes.
she's like, you love my son, bonus points, right? We're seeing green flags, but you only kind of like me. And I don't, I get it, right? Like he's away, he's traveling a lot. He maybe wasn't ready for marriage or ready to like be, with this woman or whatever. But like to be like, hey, we just got married, I changed my mind, felt like drastic.
I
Again,
think you're
it felt like,
misunderstanding it,
okay, explain it to me then. Explain it to me like I'm 5 years old.
as I do everything, dumbass. She says, I've got this great guy and he loves my kid and he sure does like me a lot. And I can't live like that. Because you realize we have a perfect couple in this film, and that's Rod and Marcy. Rod and
Yeah.
Marcy are they are all in on each other. They clearly love each other. There's a moment in this movie with Marcy that like almost moves me to tears, but I'll talk about that later. And you can tell that Jerry wants to have that with Dorothy. Like he sees them doing things and he'll like try and copy them. And it's like, that ain't you, homie.
Yeah.
And I think the point is it takes him to the end to realize and to know, because he asks, he's like, how do I know if I love her? Which is an interesting thing for a man who's like supposed to be in at least his mid-30s to ask. It's like, well,
Yeah.
you should feel like you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is sort of what Rod tells him. It's like, you'll know. Otherwise, you shoplift in the pootie, which is another
Right.
great line from
Great line.
Rod. And I think he's clearly not committed yet at that point. And he's still more about himself.
Yeah.
And I think we see the moment at the end where he realizes that it's no longer about just him. And the moment he realizes he loves her. And that's that culminating moment. That's that moment where it's both a great sports moment and it's a integral relationship moment. It's the moment where Rod is playing on Monday Night Football. And because it's a nationally broadcasted game, it's super meaningful that he has a great game, because you're not going to be able to not pay the guy who showed up on national TV and everyone saw him dominate.
Yeah.
And it dates this movie a little bit, because in reality, Rod clearly gets a fucking horrific concussion.
Yeah.
Like, Rod is tackled in the end zone. He holds onto the ball, but he gets like flipped in the air and lands on his head. Like, Rod's at least out that game. He's probably out the next week. Not in the 90s. In the 90s, they're like, if we get him to wake up and he can still move his limbs, we'll throw him back in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's was the style at the time.
Pause. Is that a union thing now, or is that just like a humanitarian thing?
A little of both. I think now
Okay.
there is a third party medical person who is there just to like see, does that guy have a concussion? We're going to take him off the field for a couple plays and make sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there a players union? Like,
Yeah.
so
The
okay,
NFL
and
Players Association.
And do they want to be taken out if they're injured, or are they rooting for like, put me in, coach?
It depends. It depends on the player. It depends on the situation.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Continue.
Yeah. But that moment it's major for, oh my God, this is my last client. He's playing his contract year. He needs to be healthy. He needs to be okay. You've got Marcy who's going, he needs to be okay, which the line that like almost gets me is Marcy going, my whole life is this family, Jerry, and it does not work without him. And obviously I'm not
God,
giving
I
it the way
know.
Regina King does, but she says it in
well.
such a way that you're like, oh no, Rod.
Can we talk about how Regina King, A, hasn't aged a day, and B, is so fucking talented? It makes me want to drown myself in the bathtub.
That woman needs to be the star of more things.
Does she have an Academy Award? She must.
I don't think so. I don't even think she's been nominated.
I'm Googling it. No, she's been nominated.
I think she has an Emmy. I think she won an Emmy for Watchmen.
Nope, she won in 2019 Best Supporting Actress, If Beale Street Could Talk.
Okay, she did win for that. Okay. Good.
But also, like, we owed her for that long before.
Oh, and she did not win for Watchmen. She was only nominated for Watchmen.
Oh, okay. Well, good. She was nominated.
Oh no, she won the Emmy. She just didn't win some other award.
She should have been nominated and won for A Cinderella Story, as far as I'm concerned.
The Hilary Duff Cinderella story?
Yeah, the very one.
Oh, she works in the diner with her, right?
Mm-hmm. She's the fairy
Yeah, okay.
godmother.
Okay. Gab, keep in mind, I've seen that movie like 1.5 times, so I'm searching in the Rolodex to remember those things.
It's unforgettable, Dill. Her performance is amazing. Anyway, Jennifer Coolidge should have won for that movie.
She could have.
She
the evil stepmother.
Yeah.
That I remember.
Yeah. You're not very pretty and you're not very bright. That's my
Is that
Jennifer
you, Gab, or
Coolidge.
is that Jennifer Coolidge?
She's my role model. I don't know if you knew that.
I'm not surprised.
Did you ever watch Millionaire Matchmaker?
No, God, no.
Okay. So Patty Stanger will just look at some of these people and be like, you're ugly, your dress is hideous, and you're going to be alone forever. Next. I'm like, that is how it's done. Good job.
That could have been Jerry's mission statement. Do you remember what the name of his mission statement is?
No.
The things we think and do not say.
Oh. My mission statement is the things we think and say way too quickly for our own good. Or way too loudly. Anyway, okay. So yes, so that line is beautiful. Regina King does a great job. Okay. It's making a little bit more sense now. In the moment, it just felt a little bit, and maybe this is like my own bias, but it's a little bit like, oh, so what? You just changed your fucking mind and now you love her because 45 minutes ago you were ready to fucking throw her out with the trash.
Well, what it is it's it's the second epiphany for him. Because his first epiphany is to regain those morals, to care about people more, to care less about the money. The second epiphany is that moment where he shares that hug with Rod, after the game. Rod's okay. Rod did it. We're going to get that contract. Oh my God. Which, there's a quick side note. There's a great moment where Bob Sugar is there with another client, and the client goes, "Why don't we have a relationship like that?" And he goes to hug him, and he's like, "Get off me."
That's good.
But
That was good.
Jerry Maguire has that moment of he's hugged Rod, he's celebrated it with him, and then there's just nothing. And he realizes, he's like, "Oh my God, I'm not supposed to be here." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be sharing this moment with the person I care the most about.
Now,
And
let me ask you this. Oh, no, finish your thought.
And that's when he rushes back to see Dorothy, which the only thing that doesn't make sense about that moment is, it's a callback to earlier with the guy in the elevator saying, "You complete me," whatever. The only thing that's stupid about it is Monday Night Football has just ended. He then had to fly back. Let's be very generous and say the fight was an hour. It's got to at least be 12:30 to 1 o'clock in the morning when he gets there. And these divorcees are still all there, like, talking shit. And I'm like, maybe. Like, I was like, maybe, but it seems a bit late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Way past my bedtime at that point.
Sunset is past your bedtime.
That is true.
Yeah.
If you are Dorothy and this motherfucker comes flying into your living room and says some shit like, "You complete me," do you just let it go? I'd be like, okay, well, what do you want me to do? Like, what do you want me to just forget everything else that happened? Like,
I think she's
you're gonna have to do more.
I think she's able to forget everything that's happened because it proves to her in that moment that he loves her the way she loves him. Because
I'm
it's
gonna need
him
more than that.
It's him coming back and saying, "I was wrong. I not
But
sharing that moment
say
with
that.
you." That's what he's starting to say. And she knows at the moment that he rushed back to her, it's literally the concept of, if you love something, set it free. And if it loves you, it will return.
Uh-huh. I think that's letting people off the hook too easy.
Maybe,
I'm
but
gonna
we
need
don't
more.
have time to see the weeks of them rebuilding and him winning her back. You
I'm
want
gonna
that
need more.
moment. And I think it works perfectly as a moment of, he ran back and he's ready to prove himself to her with the speech. And she says, "Shut up. You had me at hello."
I'd like to rewind and see if there is a moment where he says to her, quote, "hello," unquote.
He literally says, the moment he walks in the door, he goes, "Hello, I'm looking for my wife."
Oh, that hello. I was thinking like the initial at the airport.
No, I was totally
Hello.
thinking about it too. Because I've seen the movie where I was like,
Oh.
what does he say hello?
Yeah, exactly. When does hello happen? Now, my biggest fear, let me tell you a little bit of my anxious mind. If I were Dorothy and he comes running in and he says, "Hello, I'm looking for my wife." And I'm like, okay, this motherfucker's back, hook, line, and sinker. He got, I'm here. I got him. And I say, "You had me at hello." Do you want to know, with my fucking luck, he'd be like, "Can I use the bathroom?" And then be like, "Thanks. See you later.
Listen,
I'll get those papers over to you as soon as possible."
I rented a place down the street. I just gotta take a massive shit. Can I use your bathroom, Dorothy? Oh,
And
you
I'm
lost
like,
me at shit.
I'd be like, "Oh yeah, you know that uncomfortable moment where like you assume someone's gonna say something and then you realize that it wasn't at all what they were gonna say and you look like a moron." But yeah, I don't know. I mean, listen, I get it. I just feel like she just like, that's her biggest problem. She just like let him waltz back in. I'd be like, "Oh no, no, no."
Well, the movie sort of makes a point of that being her problem, and that's why it's supposed to be a big deal for her that she is not willing to accept, I don't want to call it his bare minimum, but him just liking her. She needs to
Yeah.
know if he loves her or not. That's why she sends him away.
Yeah.
Because
I
they
just
do make a
don't.
big deal of saying multiple times that it's like, don't just accept him immediately. don't do it. Don't do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
26 years
The
old. You have a
sister.
kid. Don't go don't dive headfirst into this. And she
Yeah.
does. She can't stop herself.
I don't know, like marrying somebody who you're in a moving van or you're about to get into a van and says, well, what if we just get married for health insurance? Like, what? Like,
Generally,
no.
marriage should not be an impulse decision.
Yeah. Yes. Thank
Yes.
you. Yep. And okay. So have I told you the story about my old boss from the fort?
No.
Listen to this crazy shit. So he one of the other coaches, so he owned the gym and coached at the gym. One of the other coaches was his girlfriend, and one day they got through a workout together. I think it may have been Valentine's Day, and they finished a workout together, and he just apropos of nothing proposed to her. He didn't have a ring. He had nothing. He just said, hey, will you marry me? She did not get a ring. There was no like, I'm going to like retroactively go and buy a ring and give it to you. So a couple of weeks before their wedding, she went to the jewelry store and bought her own ring. And then he was like, oh, I'll Venmo you for half. And, and they are still married. It's been probably like 2 years. And listen, good for them. But to me, you're going to propose to me. You didn't, there's no long-term strategy here. You didn't think about, you didn't save a little money. You didn't fucking do anything. This is an impulse? Abso-fucking-lutely not. Nope. No.
I mean, I don't know what this man's financial situation is. It's not like he showed up with a blow pop.
No, but which I do know someone who did that too.
The ring pop.
I know that. Yeah.
The blow pop is the
I knew what you
actual
mean.
lollipop. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I knew ring pop. Yeah, I know somebody who did that, and she carried the ring pop around in her purse for months. Shocker, they are no longer together. But even so, like, I think the thing about engagements is like it's not like, oh, so you've finally decided you want to spend the rest of your life with me, because we could just go on living like this forever. The bottom line is you like you went through the trouble of going at the very minimum, because even let's say, like, I say, I think to myself, saving money for a couple of months, but let's say you have all the money in the world, like you got your ass out of bed, you went to a jewelry store, you fucking whatever it takes. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be like a long drawn out process, but like to just wake up one morning and in the spur of the moment be like, hey, you want to get married? It's like, do you?
Are you
Tell
going to
me
change
I'm
your
wrong.
mind 10 minutes later? You don't sound wrong here. You don't sound wrong here.
Thank
I'll
you.
agree with you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. How long did you save to buy Giselle's engagement ring? And does she have the original, or did you get another one?
I've gotten another ring since. Keep in mind, we got engaged literally the age of 20. I don't
That's
think
why
I
I
had a
asked
job
if-
yet. I literally spent
Right.
every dollar I had on the engagement ring, though.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's why I asked if you had since gotten another one, because you guys have been together for a long time now.
Yeah, I have since gotten another one.
Yeah. Did you propose to her a second time, or like how'd you give it to
No.
her? Was it a gift, or were you just like, did you both pick it up? Just tell me the story.
No, it was a gift. It was an anniversary gift.
Okay, that's very nice.
Yeah.
But you didn't get down on one knee. You were just like, here's your gift.
Yes.
Yeah. I wouldn't, I think don't re-propose.
I
would
don't
advise
intend
against
to.
Okay, good. I would advise against it. I think you got it. It's a one and done. You get one shot.
I would hope so.
Okay. So anyway, those are my problems with the movie. Outside of that, near perfect.
I'm shocked to hear it, because what this movie does have to overcome, Tom Cruise, I think we both agreed off the podcast about this, generally not very likable as a person.
Agreed.
And I think that really taints how people see him as an actor. Fairly
Yeah,
so.
but he was giving his best performance.
I think he's phenomenal in the movie, and it's because
Yep.
he's going outside of, like, if you see Tom Cruise in a movie in the past 10 to 15 years, it feels like every performance is the same performance. And none of it's
Not Tropic
bad.
Thunder.
Not Tropic. And you know what? We all love Tropic Thunder because
do.
it was
We
so
love Tropic
outside
Thunder.
of his box.
Yep.
Whereas every
Yep,
Mission
Bad Hands and
Impossible
everything.
or The Mummy or, Edge of Tomorrow, they're all Tom Cruise action man.
Here's the thing about Tom Cruise, okay? Tom Cruise is short. So he has spent his whole career trying to take on tall guy roles and play a tall guy, and it just ain't working.
He literally, have you ever watched Reacher?
No.
Well, Jack Reacher from the books, as I'm told, is like he's a huge monster of a man. He's like 6'8". Like the whole point is nobody wants to fight this guy. You know what I mean? And it's like he will fight you because he feels confident he can win any fight he goes in, type of thing. When they first made a Jack Reacher movie, Jack Reacher was played by Tom Cruise. And I know someone who's a big fan of the books, and she was furious that Tom Cruise was cast as Jack Reacher. She was like,
Yeah.
he can't be Jack Reacher. Can't be it. He's too small.
Unacceptable. Unacceptable.
The last time I saw Tom Cruise do something that was different that I thought he was great in is there's a movie from 2004 called Collateral. Did you ever see it?
I've seen that movie. Yeah. Yeah.
He's the bad guy in it, and he's fucking great.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if
we saw that in the movie theaters together.
No, I don't think we saw it in the theaters. We were 12 years old.
We
it's an
did.
R-rated movie.
Yeah. We went, I'm telling you, because I remember not really liking it all that much.
I feel like I liked it as a kid just because it was like Tom Cruise is cool and shooting people. And now when I've watched as an adult, I'm like, this is a really good performance, him being this bad guy. And he really should go outside of his comfort zone more often and do roles like that.
You know what I think about when I think of Tom Cruise? Those images of Nicole Kidman being so fucking happy when they're finally divorced. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I
She's
know
like
I've seen that before where she's
down
like
the
celebrating. Street. Yes. And it's like, it's her, Nicole Kidman, just after the divorce hearing or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Literally, like at the divorce hearing, they get the decree. She signs her name. The judge signs, and she's dancing in the streets.
Is he married now?
I don't know.
Because I know he was with Katie Holmes and he's not now.
Yeah, no. He's married to Scientology. You know, some people are married to the game. He's married to the religion.
He was married to somebody before Nicole Kidman too.
Some people just marry everybody. You know, Tony Hawk has had like 13 wives.
With each pro skater game, he gets a new wife.
Yeah, exactly.
They re-released Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2, and he was like, got to go back to that wife.
Yeah. They got remarried for that. Do you ever hear a song and immediately think that you know exactly which Tony Hawk Pro Skater it was from?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that happens to me regularly.
Yeah. The Goldfinger song Superman, I'm immediately like, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, I'm in that little warehouse. Yeah.
I heard Dynamite by AC/DC or TNT. Sorry, that was embarrassing. TNT. And I was like, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3.
Yeah.
Like
those were great soundtracks.
They were. I also remember there was some Frank Sinatra in
That's
Tony
Life.
Hawk Pro Skater 3. That's Life. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
That's not in 3. Good. That's in... It's one of the ones that does, it's like Tony Hawk Underground or something like that. It's like not named Tony Hawk's Pro Skater blank. But
Yes, Underground. You're right. God damn it, Dylan. You're always right. Okay. Do you have anything else to say about this, or can we move on?
I guess I got all my big opinions out of the way, I feel like. You know what? Right. Your big opinions could have been worse, I think. We'll see where we go from here.
Let's go to the facts.
I want the truth! Face the facts, ducks.
Facts have no place with an organized religion.
All right, let's start where we normally start. Our ratings. Tomato meter for Rotten Tomatoes, this gives an 84% with an average rating of 7.8 out of 10, 78 fresh reviews, and 14 rotten. The audience score is 79% with an average score of 3.9 out of 5. The IMDb rating is 7.3 out of 10. The movie had a $50 million budget. It grossed $274 million. The critics' consensus, anchored by dazzling performances from Tom Cruise, Cuba Gooba, and Renee Zellweger, as well as Cameron Crowe's tender direction, Jerry Maguire meshes romance and sports with panache. Panache?
Ganache. It's in the cupcakes.
Mixes romance and sports with baba ganoush. Here's some reviews. Roger Ebert gave it 3 stars. There were a couple of moments in Jerry Maguire when you want to hug yourself with delight, which I don't know. I'm just picturing Roger Ebert embracing himself. And it's kind of adorable.
When I think about you, I hug myself.
Yeah, I don't want to think about Roger Ebert doing the other thing. Rick Groen from Globe and Mail. There's much to admire in Jerry Maguire, except Jerry Maguire. I don't really know what that means. You could have been more specific there.
Yeah.
Rita Kempley from the Washington Post. Cruise seems to have grown as much as Jerry, for he brings gentleness, warmth, and lightheartedness to this role. Qualities that we haven't seen since he played air guitar in his underpants in Risky Business 13 years ago.
I've also never seen that movie.
That's a great movie. Paul Tatara from CNN.com, last one. Cruise is very good in small moments with Dorothy's son, played charmingly by Jonathan Lipnicki, but in some of the bigger scenes, his performance is so wrong-headed, you can't imagine what he was thinking. And I mean, we talked about it. I feel the opposite because he makes bold choices that I'm like, it does not work if you go with like the safe choice.
Yeah, I agree with you completely.
All right. I do have a couple of Letterboxd reviews.
Okay, please.
Amy Andrews, this has got to be one of the oddest movies tonally that I've ever seen. Like grotesque sports comedy combined with over-the-top romantic monologue, beyond strange. Asterisk, still cried.
That's kind of exactly what I was thinking when I came in. Asterisk included.
Well,
do you know
it's something for everyone.
Yeah, agreed. Something for everyone. Do you know that up until, I mean, maybe like 3 or 4 years ago, I thought it was Astrick.
From Alex Ass Skater,
ASTRICK.
you're doing ass tricks.
Yeah, asterisks. I didn't realize it was, and now I'm scared.
Asterisk.
Asterisk. I thought it was asterisk.
That's a hard word. That and ampersand. They're hard words.
No, ampersand, I know. Okay, continue.
Okay. Mimily. Better than I was expecting, but I guess I missed the scene where Tom Cruise said hello to Renee Zellweger.
Yep.
People miss that hello. And you know what? It doesn't really matter. Even if he didn't say hello, she just means the moment you showed up, the moment you came back, I knew.
Yeah.
Evil Bjork. People actually paid money to see stories like these in theaters in the 90s. And I don't think that's a diss to the movie. I think that's the movie landscape has changed so much that a movie like this does not go to theaters and make $300 million.
Yeah.
Although there's that movie out now with Glenn Powell and Sydney Sweeney. Is Anyone But You?
Yeah. Anyone But You. Yeah,
that's
it's like a
doing pretty well.
traditional rom-com.
Yeah.
But people are saying like we haven't had a rom-com like this in years.
Yeah, they used to be major players at the box office, and now they're few and far between.
It does beg the question though, why would they have released that in the dead of winter and not during Valentine's Day?
I think because they probably didn't have that high of hopes. I think it's very weird that the big Valentine's Day release is like Madam Web.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Annoying.
And last Letterboxd review from Zara. I don't know how to quite explain it, but this is one of Cruise's gayest characters. I don't know what it means, but I was like, yeah, I'm gonna write that one down.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel that deeply. Okay.
Okay. The movie is directed by Cameron Crowe, who also directed Almost Famous, Vanilla Sky, and Say Anything. The screenplay is by Cameron Crowe, who also wrote Almost Famous, Say Anything, Vanilla Sky, We Bought a Zoo, and Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Okay.
It stars Tom Cruise, who you know from the Mission Impossible movies. Like, come on, that's what you know him from. Renee Zellweger is Dorothy Boyd, who you probably should watch in That Thing About Pam. That was a really good show. Chicago, Me, Myself, and Irene. Cuba Gooding Jr., who I'm going to Cuba, as
Cuba
Rod,
Cuba.
who we all, of course, remember from classics like Radio, Snow Dogs, and Boat Trip.
Radio. God, I'd love to hear the Letterboxd reviews about Radio.
To quote Tropic Thunder, he went full, and you never go full.
Yeah.
And Jonathan Lipnicki made his on-screen debut as Ray, who we already said the movies you would know him from, Stuart Little, Like Mike, Little Vampire. And did you know he's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu now?
Dylan, I thought you were going to say, did you know he's a black guy? And I
No,
was going to
he's
say,
not.
I don't think so.
That's not a thing.
Yeah. Interesting. Black belt. Good for him. That takes a lot of dedication and discipline.
Yeah, other people who appear is Cameron Crowe's mom is one of the divorcees in that scene.
Cute.
But there's smaller roles from people like Jerry O'Connell, Kelly Preston, Bo Bridges, Bonnie Hunt, Jay Moore, Regina King, Ari Spears, Hynden Walsh, Donald Logue, Glenn Fry from the Eagles, Toby Huss, Drake Bell, Eric Stoltz, Lucy Liu, it says is in here, and I didn't see her, but it says she's there.
Yeah. She's one of the ex-girlfriends. That was something I was going to bring up to you. She was one of the ex-girlfriends in the videotape. Also, what was that narrative about how he doesn't like to be alone? I was like, this is unnecessary. We could have gone without this.
No, because I think it makes sense for the reason why he's with Dorothy, even though he's not sure if he's in love with her yet.
Okay.
That's why he was willing to get married, even though he wasn't certain yet.
Yeah, clarified.
Good at friendship,
yeah,
terrible at intimacy.
Sure. She's classified as like Lucy and Lou or something like that. And I was like,
so this is to be very early for her.
Very early. But I was like, surely this isn't somebody whose unfortunate circumstances that they're also named Lucy Liu. And via SAG they needed to, change their name.
No,
But no.
that was the real deal.
Yeah.
Then we have cameos from sports people like Roy Firestone, Al Michaels, Dan Deerdorf, Frank Gifford, Mel Kiper, Jeffrey Lurie, the owner of the Eagles, Drew Rosenhaus, Mike Tirico, Rick Meyer, Drew Bledsoe, Warren Moon, Troy Aikman, Kajana Carter, Art Monk, Katarina Witt, Kerry Collins, Jim Irsay, the owner of the Colts, and Michael Irvin.
Cool.
I think that was everyone. It was nominated for 4 Academy Awards: Best Picture, which it lost to The English Patient; Best Actor for Tom Cruise, he lost to Jeffrey Rush for Shine; Best Original Screenplay, which it lost to Fargo; and Best Editing for Joe Hutching, and it lost to The English Patient also. It did win an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for Cuba Gooding Jr.
Oh, good. I'm glad he won. Interesting. Jeffrey Rush, the shark from Finding Nemo, yes?
I think so. I don't know.
Bruce.
I
Bruce
cannot
the
think of
shark.
Jeffrey Rush without my mind immediately goes to, you best start believing in love stories, Jerry Maguire. You're in one. Like, I just think of Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, I get it. Yeah. That's really funny. Yeah, Jeffrey Rush. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway,
You want to hear the fun facts?
if those facts weren't fun, I don't know what is. But yes, please.
Jake Gyllenhaal admitted in a video that he cries every time when Marcy says the line that I referenced about, you don't understand, this family doesn't work without him.
Interesting. From what I know, from my own personal opinions,
Okay.
he's a real piece of shit.
Really?
Jake Gyllenhaal. Yeah.
Okay. I could
but I
believe
love
it.
Taylor Swift. So
Oh, I don't give a damn about her.
yeah, but you know what? I believe her when she says he's a real piece of shit. I'm like, yeah, that tracks.
How long until she says Travis Kelce's a real piece of shit? How long
Well,
until
you know
that's
what,
over?
Dylan? Like any good girlfriend, when she decides he's a piece of shit, I decide he's a piece of shit.
I've
so
heard
I'm
I've
just
heard
waiting
that
for the
she's going to
word.
get a Super Bowl ring if they win.
I have heard the same thing, and I'm very excited.
Obviously, we're recording this before the Super Bowl. I really, really don't want them to win.
Wait, do you mean like a literal Super Bowl ring or an engagement ring?
No, like she's going to get an actual Chiefs Super Bowl ring if they win.
Why would she get that? Do
I
wives
don't
and
know.
girlfriends
There are people
typically
who
get
aren't
them?
players who do get them sometimes, people who work administratively in the office. Like
Yeah.
the owner can decide how many rings he wants to give out. You know what I mean?
Interesting. But is it like does Patrick Mahomes' wife have a ring
No.
from a season? Oh.
No.
Well, I wouldn't want one. They're very gaudy.
I wouldn't want one if I wasn't at all related to the actual team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what though? I think people don't give her enough credit for how much like money she's earned the NFL and that team.
I think people give plenty of credit. I think there's a reason they keep showing her every 5 minutes when it's a Chiefs game.
Yeah.
They show her so much that I saw a video of her mouthing, "Stop showing me."
Yeah. Sure. Well, that's the thing. It's like it's not her fault. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah.
We don't have time to go down this rabbit hole.
Let's get funner. Jonathan,
I thought you meant engagement ring, which is why I got so excited. I don't care.
that's
if she
actually
gets
a bet on FanDuel. You could bet if he's going to propose to her after the Super Bowl.
Oh, God, Dylan, you know I have a gambling problem. You can't be telling me stuff like that.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Keep going.
Jonathan
my blood
Lipnicki
pressure.
showed up on set one day telling everyone the human head weighs 8 pounds, and Cameron Crowe liked it so much that he wrote it into the script.
Aw, Cameron Crowe's a man?
Yes.
Interesting. Would have thought it was a woman. Okay, keep going.
The scene in which Jerry Maguire and Ray Boyd are talking in the living room for the first time was completely ad-libbed. Cameron Crowe wanted to create a genuine feel between the two and did so by not having written dialogue for that particular scene.
Wow.
The parts of Dorothy Boyd and Jerry Maguire were originally written for Winona Ryder and Tom Hanks. Hanks was unable to commit to the project due to his work on That Thing You Do.
Good choice.
Winona Ryder was able to commit, but when screen tests were done with Tom Cruise, they looked like brother and sister when standing together.
Oof, yikes.
And that will end that.
Yeah.
Paula Abdul helped Cuba Gooding Jr. choreograph his touchdown dance.
Nice.
Which is the second time Paula Abdul has come up for choreographing for somebody, because I think I said that on Big that she helped choreograph.
Oh, yeah. That's crazy.
As of 2015, this movie holds the record for the lowest gross by a #1 movie at the weekend box office, with just over $5.5 million in ticket sales. This feat was achieved during its 7th week of release, bolstered by renewed public interest after it received an Academy Award nomination for Best Picture.
Interesting.
The story for the movie is reportedly based on real-life Orange County agent Lee Steinberg, who's also a very famous sports agent. He has a cameo in the movie as Troy Aikman's agent. Steinberg's ex-partner David Dunn tried to lure away many of Steinberg's clients, just as Jay Moore's Bob Sugar does in the movie. During an appearance on the Graham Norton show, Cuba Gooding Jr. talked about how his dad, Cuba Gooding Sr., didn't hold back on set. Cuba introduced his dad to Tom Cruise, and his dad gave Cruise a hug, then asked Tom Cruise, "But seriously, are you gay or not?" Cuba later scolded his dad, "You can't keep your lips loose," and they moved too fast.
Oh, wow. I forgot that there was like a big "is Tom Cruise gay" narrative.
Yeah, it's one of those things that it's like, why did we care so much?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
In the elevator scene, when Jerry and Dorothy spot a man signing to his girlfriend, and Dorothy translated as "you complete me," the man appears to be using pidgin sign. It's Pidgin sign language, or possibly a form of manually coded English. Literally, what he's saying is, "You make me feel whole."
Interesting. I knew that that's what he was saying because I knew that line was from this movie.
Yeah. Dickie Fox, Jerry Maguire's mentor, was played by actual lawyer for Sony Pictures, Jared Jussum, who still to this day at 89 years old is an adjunct professor at Southwestern Law School.
Cute.
Crowe initially wanted another director, Billy Wilder, to play the role of Dickie Fox, but Wilder told him to get an actor. Jussum, who had no prior acting experience, was cast for the role after walking to a production meeting with Crowe and producer James L. Brooks. Jussum was asked to say one line and was thereafter selected.
Aw. I love when movies do that, when there's like not a narrator, but like somebody giving.
He's sort of
Just
outside
like-
of the story, but he's just saying things that like apply to what's happening.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Woody Harrelson called turning down Jerry Maguire a blunder. And when he heard 2 days later Tom Cruise was doing it, he said, "Ooh, I might have fucked that."
He would not. There's no fucking way.
I don't know. I could see him doing a good job too. Like,
Nope.
maybe. I don't know.
No.
It's hard to say now. And the last thing, this was super weird. In Echo Park, Los Angeles, California, there's a video store that has nothing but copies of Jerry Maguire, where you can drop off VHS tapes of Jerry Maguire to eventually build a giant Jerry Maguire pyramid. I did not make this up. That is real. And these people have been working on this for 8 years. They received 20 to 100 Jerry Maguire VHS tapes per week in the mail.
How big is this pyramid?
They haven't built the pyramid yet. They're planning to build the pyramid in the desert. And they intend to also cover the floor with Jerry Maguire VHS tapes.
Do you have one?
A Jerry Maguire VHS tape? You know what? I actually do think growing up we did. I'm sure that's long gone by this point, but I have it on DVD.
Well, nobody cares about that, so.
Okay, then.
Okay, here we go. Are you ready?
I am ready.
I'm ready. Dylan, tell them what we're ready for.
It's time for our newest segment, which I'm still not sure. Did we ever agree on the name?
We agreed.
Gab, you say the name because we agreed, but I don't remember.
I think we're going with Crazy Pitch.
Okay, you son of a pitch. Let's get to this crazy pitch.
Oh, did we say son of a pitch?
See, we had a lot of pitch things.
Yeah.
Totally
we
pitching.
could call it dumbass pitch, stupid ass pitch.
Totally pitching. I kind of like that now. That one just came to me.
Totally pitching. Yeah. Listeners, tell us what we should call it. Dylan, play the sound clip.
Here's my quick pitch.
Pitch me hard.
Here's the pitch.
You just pitch.
I don't need to hear the pitch.
You seem more sure of yourself on this segment. So, Gab, I'm going to let you go first. What we're trying to do here is we're trying to make the movie worse, right?
We're trying to repackage the movie in a totally different way.
Well,
Dylan,
I made
you
mine
go
in
first.
a totally worse way.
Mine's really good, so you go first.
Okay. So, I have recast. First, we're going to be written and directed by Michael Bay.
Okay.
As Jerry Maguire, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Okay.
As Dorothy Boyd, Melissa McBride.
Okay.
Together, they're going to try and raise Ray Boyd, who is Dorothy's adopted child, played by Danny DeVito.
Okay.
I love the pairing of Arnold and Danny DeVito, so I
Danny.
decided to make it happen again. And you know what
Okay.
really made this come to me? Because I'm just picturing Danny DeVito swinging between Melissa McBride and Arnold Schwarzenegger in their arms after Arnold goes, "We finally went to the zoo, Ray. Did you have a good time at the zoo?" And you know what? That to me said this pitch was worthwhile.
Okay, that was good. Do you remember outside of the Toys R Us on Hempstead Turnpike, there would be those like teenagers dressed up like the Power Rangers trying to get you to sign up for Tiger Schulman's.
Yes, okay. And the different colored geese, I think they're
Yes.
called.
I don't know. In my mind, they were in full-blown Ninja Turtle outfits. Not Ninja Turtle, Power Rangers outfits.
Okay.
Do you recall this at all?
Yes. How does this relate to your pitch?
Okay. So when I was a kid, this doesn't relate to my pitch. When I was a kid,
Okay.
I was outside of Toys R Us with my parents. My mom had one hand and my dad had the other hand, and the Power Rangers witnessed my parents swing me and my arm come right out of its socket.
Oh no.
Yep. And the Power Rangers were like, can't help you there. And they had to pop it back in, and they never did it again.
They didn't do anything. They didn't form the giant mech, the Zord
No.
or whatever it's called, to stop it.
Nope.
Oh,
They did
that's
nothing.
terrible.
I know.
Lazy
Okay,
Power
here's
Rangers.
my crazy pitch. Dumbass pitch. Stupid ass pitch.
Okay.
So mine, Dylan, is a 12 episode miniseries that is
I didn't even think of
only
changing it.
available on Peacock.
So
is
at
only
least
available on
50
Peacock.
to 100 people will see this.
Correct. Yeah. And it'll be heavily advertised, and it'll make you think that you can watch it, but you have to subscribe to Peacock to watch it.
Okay.
As Jerry Maguire, Zach Braff. As
Okay.
Rod Tidwell, Donald Faison. As Dorothy, Sarah Chalk. As Marcy, Judy Reyes. And as Billy Sugar, Neil Flynn. So Dylan,
Bob
that would be
Sugar.
the cast of Bob Sugar, whatever. That would be the cast of, say it with me,
Scrubs.
Scrubs.
You have made one mistake though. Neil Flynn, the janitor, has to play Ray Boyd, the child.
No.
He has to be coming at Jerry like, dogs and beasts can smell fear, and you should be afraid. Like,
No. He's Bob Sugar. I'm insisting. Here is the director. I didn't think about the writer. So bad on me, but the director is Steve Carell. And let me tell you why. Okay. Steve Carell made his directing debut in the episode of Office titled Broke, where Michael Scott quits Dunder Mifflin to start the Michael Scott Paper Company and takes Pam with him.
who's coming with me? So that alone was enough reason for you to say, fuck it. Let's
Yeah.
put Steve
Steve
Carell on this
Carell.
12
He-
episode
he just-
miniseries.
He knows the story so well. He's been in the story. So that is my 12 episode miniseries on Peacock. Jerry Maguire, the cast of Scrubs, hijinks ensue. Steve Carell ensures that. And to be honest with you, I think somebody needs to greenlight this.
The other totally pitching thought I had was I was going to have actual athletes be every role.
Boring.
And yeah. It wasn't as good.
So I'm going to say I won.
What, you just declare it?
No. I'm the winner. I just decided in this moment that there's a winner and a loser. And this week, it's me. I win.
No,
Tell me
you
I'm
don't get to
wrong.
decide that. I'm telling you you're wrong.
You think your pitch is better than mine?
Cast of Scrubs versus Arnold and Little Danny DeVito.
Yeah, nobody
Arnold
would
is
greenlight that.
putting him to sleep and he's laying in bed with him and he gives him a kiss on the cheek before he has to go to the big game.
No. Nope.
And Marcy says this family does not
You know
work
what?
without him, and he goes, "It's going to be okay, Marcy. Calm down.
No. Listeners will
I'm going
vote.
to get to the chopper so that I can come home and see
Shut
my wife."
Up. Shut up. Listeners will vote. Listeners, cast your vote. Whose pitch was better? Mine. Thank you. Can we finish this now? I want to eat dinner.
Okay, yeah, we can finish this, but first we have to do the mail, and then we have to do the verdicts. Like, you don't know how this goes.
Don't hit me with fish.
Mail time!
When you control the mail, you control information.
Mom asked me to ask you if there's any mail for us here by mistake.
What?
Okay, so we just have a couple comments here. First, on our episode of Clue, we have from Scotty Cameron. Taylor Swift announced a new album, which means Travis Kelce's days of dating Taylor are numbered because she needs a single for the new album.
Okay, so first of all, Scotty Cameron, you clearly don't know what you're talking about because this album is a Joe Alwyn breakup album. So she has everything she needs. It is about the ex. The Travis Kelce album is in our future. We don't have it yet, but also they're going to get married and live happily ever after. So it's going to be fine. But yeah, this is a Joe Alwyn breakup album, and I am so excited about it. April 19th.
Just not really
Tortured
a fan
Poets
of either
Society.
one of them. I hate it. Is it the Tortured Poets Society or Department?
Sorry,
Like,
it's
some
Department.
super cliche name.
Yeah, but do you know why it's called that? I'll tell you.
I really don't
You
care,
ready?
but go ahead. You're gonna tell
Okay, I'm
me.
going to tell you. So it's because Joe Alwyn was in a group chat with his like guy friends called the Tortured Actors um department.
And
And
I
so
don't
it's a
like him too
play.
now.
I know, it's a play on it. So she's really sticking it to him or, referencing him hard. But it is meant to be like over the top and cliche because he's over the top and cliche. It's like when she wrote Dear John about John Mayer and the guitar riff literally sounded like a John Mayer song.
There's a part of me that just thinks, can't you just stop? Can't you just be done? You're a billionaire. Just go live your life. Does every
No, I
breakup
want it. I
require?
want it. Yes. Think about Fleetwood Mac. What would have happened if they just stopped?
No, that's different, Gab. That's different. That's like if Joe Alwyn was her like recording partner and they were making it together.
He was a ghostwriter on some of her songs.
He died?
Yeah, fuck you. Let's move on, please. I love Taylor.
I just don't care. And every time they showed her during the Super Bowl, I didn't care then either.
Yeah, but they show lots of celebrities. Also, I was watching
They
the Super
don't-
Bowl
wait.
for the Taylor content, and there was not nearly as much as I thought there would be, considering how many fucking people were complaining.
Here's what I'm going to say. And I know I saw something that was just like, they only showed Taylor Swift for 54 seconds. And people saying, it's the whole back and forth. Because do I really care? No. But they only showed 54 seconds of Taylor Swift during the Super Bowl. Okay. And then it was another thing where it was like, do you care when they showed these celebrities? And it showed Jack Nicholson at a Lakers game or Mark Wahlberg at like a Patriot game or whatever. The difference is they show those people for 2 seconds just to be like, they're celebrities at the game today. The difference with Taylor Swift is every time Travis Kelce makes a catch, we need to go get that shot of Taylor Swift. Every time, oh, Chiefs just scored, there's Taylor Swift. And, one of the things that I normally don't ascribe to about football, but they're like, there's actually only 12 minutes of the actual game during the whole thing where they're actually playing. So it's like, if we're going to make it out to be, there's only 54 seconds. When you compare that to how much actual gameplay there is, I saw like as much Taylor Swift as like an eighth of the fucking game. You know what I mean? Like, it's enough.
So it's a 12th of the game.
Whatever.
But also
I ain't good
like
at math.
I'll tell you what though, Del, I watched the whole Super Bowl and I was like, oh shit, football is cool. Like football is fun. Nobody told me that.
Football
I thought it
is
was
fun.
stupid. Yeah. So aren't you happy now that next season I told Corey we could get the NFL package and we could watch football?
Oh, you don't want to get the NFL package. It's super overpriced.
What package do I get?
Some kind of cheap cable type package? Like, what are you trying to get?
I don't know. We have MLB for baseball.
Do you share that with somebody? Because otherwise, that's not worth it either.
My parents got it for the postseason, so that was probably years ago. We have SNY, is really what I mean.
I used to have that for free when I worked with Major League Baseball. And at the time, I was giving that login out like it was candy. You know what I mean? I was like, here.
Yeah,
Here.
fuck yeah. Yeah.
Then when I stopped working there, people were like, can you still log in? And I was like, no. And you know how many people like signed up for it on their own? I think one person did because it's like $160.
It's crazy. It's super expensive and you still get blackouts.
The NFL version for like YouTube TV, they now have the Sunday ticket package. You still get blackouts in your local area and it's like $400.
Fuck that.
And then they're like, the season's halfway over. You can pay $250 for it now. I'm like, wait. I understand enough math that you're fucking me now. Like,
yeah, honestly. Yeah. I mean, listen, watching any kind of sports they're really bending you over backwards now. But I really enjoyed it. And honestly, probably would never have given a shit about football if it weren't for Taylor Swift being like, guys, football is cool. Like I learned it and now I really like it. It's fun. We didn't know before, but now we know. And I was like, oh shit, it's fun. And then I watched it and I was like, oh my God, it's kind of fun.
you wouldn't have watched the Super Bowl otherwise.
I have watched the Super Bowl in previous years, but like not paying attention, not like watching. I was watching and I was asking questions.
Okay. Did you like any of the commercials?
I liked a lot of the commercials.
You know what I don't like? That's a recent thing. It used to be cool that there would be like these movie teasers that came out for the Super Bowl. And now every movie teaser is like, okay, we got like 5 seconds and you can see the actual trailer online. I'm like, wait, no, you're supposed to hook me now. You've got 100 and something million people watching right now. Don't tell them and click on the link because I can tell you, Gab, posting a link every week, not many people click on it.
It's true. It's very true. What were your thoughts on the Wicked trailer?
I was just surprised that Ariana Grande is the good witch.
Well, vocally, yeah, it makes sense that she's the good witch. Um, I will say this, she left her husband
For
for the
SpongeBob
guy who plays
SquarePants.
the scarecrow. Oh, yes, SpongeBob, exactly. And he left his wife for her. Interesting that they didn't show him in the trailer. And my thought is it because of the scandal?
I don't know, but you know what else they're not marketing in the trailer at all?
Hmm.
One, that it's very clearly a musical.
Well, I think
And
most people know that it's a musical.
yeah, that's fair. The other thing they're not marketing, and most people will not know this, is that it's part one of a two-part thing.
Huh?
That there's going to be Wicked Part Two. So like,
There is?
yes, I kind of never appreciate when movies are like, let's pull a fast one on them. It's the same thing with Across the Spider-Verse was supposed to be Beyond the Spider-Verse Part One, and it's like,
Yeah.
just just don't like pull a rug from under people. Let them know. There's
I
nothing wrong
hated
with that.
when that movie ended and it was like, oh, so we have to wait another 5 years?
Yeah, and at first they were like, you only have to wait another like, 10 months. And then they were like, every story came out that it was, they're working people to death to get that done. And it's like, you know what? I'll wait a little longer. It's okay.
Yeah, I'll wait. It's fine. That's so interesting because the fucking Broadway musical it's based on is a fucking tight 2.5. And we got to have 2 movies
Oh, you're gonna get a minimum 3.5.
in this first part?
No, not in this first part. But I'm saying if they're making this
In
into two
total.
movies, you're getting minimum 3.5 hours.
That's really annoying because it's like, why can't things just be a movie? Like, why does it ever always have to turn into like 3 movies and a spin-off and a da-da-da? Actually, fun fact, I learned this recently. Nickelodeon, right? Josh Peck was on a podcast and somebody said something to him and they were like, oh, well, you got that Nickelodeon money. And he was like, what Nickelodeon money? Apparently, Nickelodeon had something set up where you only earned residuals on your TV show if it hit a certain number of episodes, but they would always cancel the show before that number of episodes and just do like a spin-off.
Oh, that's not just a Nickelodeon thing. That's Disney does that a lot too. The
I
number,
thought
I
Disney
believe, is
paid better, though.
65 episodes.
Yeah, something
So
like that.
that's what it takes for a show to go into syndication, and then you start making money off syndication.
Mm.
But yeah, Disney Channel does that a lot. I think the only shows from when we were kids that went into syndication, I think Kim Possible might have made it, but almost none of them did. Like they all get to like 2 or 3 seasons, get to like 40-ish episodes, and then they're like, and start the new one. And I know that they did like Raven's House and they did Girl Meets World, and like none of those things. Girl Meets World, I've heard, was specifically canceled because they didn't want to syndicate it.
Wow. It's just fucked up.
It really is. It really is.
Like really fucked up. Crazy.
Money.
What were we talking about?
Talking about comments, and Scotty Cameron has another one.
Okay, good. Relay it on me.
Speaking of movies we had on VHS, I did have the first 2 live-action Scooby-Doo movies, the first Spider-Man film, Ang Lee's Hulk, and Batman and Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero on VHS. Gab, do you remember that I had like a whole wall of VHSs when I was a kid?
Dylan, if I close my eyes, I can still tell you where the Little Mermaid was in that
Wait,
in
really?
that bookshelf. Yes. It was
that's impressive.
middle, but over to the right, favoring the right.
I remember we bought that from a video store that was shutting down at the time too, that big rack.
I remember that the bottom was like the cardboard VHSs, and on top were like the thick bubble plasticky, ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were organized very well. And yeah, I mean, that was like how we lived our lives. We would go into the living room, pick out a movie, and either watch it in there with the big ball next to the couch, or we would take it into the den.
I still think that it's better to own these things because God forbid you heard what Amazon's doing now, that it's like whatever you were paying before, you now get ads, like unless you decide to pay more. And if you want to pay even more, they were offering some level of sound quality like Dolby Atmos, that it's like, well, now if you want that, you can pay more for that. And it's like, see, this is very much a pulling the rug thing. It's the same thing with Netflix, where it's like for years they had been like, love is sharing a password. And then all of a sudden they're like, you know what? Fuck you. Don't share our passwords. You thought we'd let you get away with that? And like, what it really leads to is grandma calling me being like, I can't log into the Netflix. And I'm like, okay, so you got to click this button so I can send you a text code that will be your way in. Okay, I'll come over.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just not cool. And eventually we're just going to end up with, I think we talked about this before, but like HBO, Hulu, Cockmax, that'll be like $80 a month, but you'll get a lot of shit. And we'll be back to
It's going to
cable.
be cable. Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. I just feel like, I don't know. I don't disagree with you in principle, but physical media is very like clunky now that we're in the digital age, where even like books. I'm reading a book and I don't want to take it with me on the train because then I got to carry it and put it in my bag and da da da. So it's like just easier to have a book that I can read on my iPad or on my phone and go back and forth between the two. Like,
I do get that, but the thing I think about is things like iTunes, where you can buy a movie on iTunes and you own it, but God forbid they lose whatever rights they have with whatever distributor.
yeah.
That all of a sudden, like, you don't own the movie anymore. You paid us, but we had to take the movie back.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get that. I just I don't have a DVD player and I may never have one again. So I don't even know where I would go about buying a DVD player if I wanted one.
They still sell, like, not DVD players, but like Blu-ray players and, 4K players. Although I have the PlayStation, so I play stuff on that.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Anyway, we have a comment from Lanola Cola. And now for something completely different. I'm hoping I didn't miss another Lanola Cola comment first. Okay, no, I didn't. And now for something completely different. Nah, it's just the same old Lanola Cola. Oh, if I just finished my sentence, Cab.
Dylan.
And now I have to see your podcast on the Great Gatsby movie with Leo DiCaprio. Haven't seen that film since high school after my English class finished the book. The Great Gatsby, was that a movie to watch before you died?
Yeah. I think so. Yeah.
I
yeah.
think it is.
It
I think
definitely
was my Legend of Billie Jean back to you, probably. We have what?
Sorry. No, I wasn't gonna say anything.
We have one last comment from Nothing Really. I stumbled on your guys' podcast because I just uploaded a video talking about Clue and was about to post it to Reddit. I haven't listened to the whole thing yet, but I will at work tomorrow. Let me know what y'all think of ours if you end up watching it. Completely agree with the Tim Curry praise. He rocks. And I did actually end up watching their video, which was quite fun, where he introduced his friend to Clue, but only showed him one ending like they would have in theaters. And then in the video, he showed him the other two endings. Which
That's
definitely
so
impacted
cool.
how much he liked it, because at first he was like, yeah, I was very confused by the ending where it's just Miss Scarlet's fault.
Yeah. Wow. That's really dope. Sometimes I wish that we were cool
We're
and
not,
did
though.
stuff like that.
And
No.
we won't be.
No. And we don't have time, and I'm too fucking tired.
I'm too tired to be cool.
We literally spent the first half hour offline talking about how tired and miserable we are. So
There's a Jethro Tull song, because I'm old. I'm too old to rock
not
and
that
roll
old.
and too young to die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that.
All righty. Should we get to the verdicts for Jerry Maguire?
Yeah, show me the
verdicts.
money. Yeah. Oh, damn it. That was better. Yes.
Show me the verdicts!
I love black people.
Oh my God.
Do or do not. There is no try.
The guilty will be punished.
Sentence.
Death.
I believe this is a movie to watch before you die because you are getting stellar performances from every single person in it. I think it is a finely crafted screenplay. I think it covers multiple tones and genres. And I think anytime you can do that, it makes it more appealing to me because it's not just one thing. It's a jack of all trades. Yeah, you know what? It combines football and love. And you know what? Who doesn't love that? Happy Valentine's Day. Yeah.
Dylan, I came into this feeling like some of the events in the love story were a little bit jerky and a little like cut
Jerky
for
Maguire.
time. Jerky Maguire, thank you. But after having a conversation about it, and also even, you know what? Fuck our conversation. At the end of the movie, despite feeling that way, did I cry? You bet your fat white ass I did. I was in. And so after having a conversation about it and kind of hearing you out and understanding sort of maybe some of the nuance that I missed in my first watch, I will say, irrespective, I loved it. I say yes, it is a movie to watch before you die.
Wow.
It was funny, it was captivating, it was exciting, there was anxiety, there was hope, there was love, there was laughter, there was romance, there were aspirational couples and couples that needed to work on some shit, and it was just great. All 10 out of 10.
All right. Let me ask you, first of all, I'm shocked and very excited by this because I thought it had to overcome a long runtime and the fact that you do not like Tom Cruise or Renee Zellweger.
I'm not against a long runtime if it's not a waste of time.
Nice. I do think maybe the movie could be like a couple minutes shorter, but I don't think there's like a lot of fat on that, that piece of meat.
Agreed.
All right, to go more sports on you, who's the MVP of the movie to you?
Cuba Gooba.
I guess it has to be him because he won the Oscar. Besides him, it's Regina King.
Yeah. I mean, to me, they kind of are a package deal. Absolutely. Regina King is so fucking talented. I will say it until it is written as law. She is amazing in everything. She was amazing in fucking the Hilary Duff roller skating Snow White Cinderella movie thing with Chad Michael Murray.
And
she's
Watchmen.
amazing. I don't recall that, but sure.
Yeah.
She is fucking phenomenal. And she's been in so many other things that we're not even talking about. But anyway, I really do feel like Cuba Gooba, he left nothing on the table.
No,
he put it all, he left it all out on the dance floor.
He does a great job, especially when you consider the fact that Tom Cruise is really at a 10 the whole time of still knowing the moments to also be at a 10.
And so oftentimes being at a 10 don't work. But
Yeah.
it worked.
Like if you watch The Room, everyone's at a 10 there.
That's a whole lot of 10s coming at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
10s across the board.
Yeah.
All right. I don't need to say more about
you.
Cuba. I don't need to say anything else. I should stop talking right now because we agree.
Yep. Thank you for introducing me to this movie. I loved it and I would watch it again.
Wow. Fantastic. I guess I should say the end things. I'm turning into Arnold Schwarzenegger again, but that's unintentional.
Land this plane, Dill. Land it now.
If you want to reach out to us because you want to suggest a movie, you want to tell us we're right, tell us we're wrong, you can email us at movies2watchbeforeyouDie@gmail.com.
Pause. You must tell us whose pitch was better.
You can also leave that in a comment on YouTube, or I will have that as our question you can answer on Spotify as well. You can send us a voice message on Spotify for podcasters, formerly known as Anchor.fm. Anchor.fm/movies to watch is the link for that. You can find us on the Hall of Pods podcasting network with our podcasting friends. That's a link tree in the description below. You can find our link tree below, which has links to all of our social media and whatnot, and also Gab's Venmo.
Yep.
Gab, I've said all the things. They can come back next week and watch us talk about another movie.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And by the way, when you were reading the email address, my neighbor sneezed so loud. There's no way it isn't on this recording.
Well, I look forward to listening back to see if I can hear the sneeze. And if so,
yes.
Bless you.
Thank you. Thank you for listening. Talk to you next week.
Bury the attitude a little bit and show them...
Wait. You're telling me to dance?
No. I'm saying to get back to the guy who first started playing this game. Remember? Way back when you were a kid? It wasn't just about the money, was it? Was it? Was it?